All right, today we're going to continue a series of videos that we've already started showing how we can connect two shipping containers. Now here I have two 40-foot shipping containers. In some previous videos, I connected them close together. Now this time, I'm listening to a comment I got from one of the viewers. What would happen if you pulled them apart? So this one here is pulling apart two 40-foot shipping containers 6 feet away so that we can build a Clearstory all the way down the end. Now you may want a Clearstory only on part of it. The Clearstory is where you're building on top of your roof and you're allowing for windows, or we call lights, to be built to allow light to come down into your space. It can work really well to allow for ventilation to go out, because as we all know, hot air rises, and so if the windows on the Clearstory are operable, say like a awning type, then awning is a type that opens out like this, then you can allow for the air to rise up, the hot air to rise up and escape out of the house. And so it'd be a nice passive design. And we'll go over passive design in another video. But in this one, we're going to explore all the different parts that you need to be aware of when you're building two shipping containers separated apart. So we're going to start with two 40-foot high cubes, and then we'll have an empty box over here, obviously. We're going to take out those side walls. Now be sure to watch a video that we published earlier on that cautions you about things that you need to know about before you take out these side walls. So taking out those side walls, then we're going to be putting some structure in there. This is showing a beam on both sides. The beam would be obviously supported by some vertical structural members, which is not shown in this example. It may be a wall, it may be some columns, it may be a combination of them. And then we have some foundations. Here we're showing piers all the way around. Now shipping containers are designed to transfer their loads on the four corners of the shipping container. And so that's why we're showing these piers on the four corners, and we're putting piers in between to support the floor, since we are taking out the wall that once kept it all as one monolithic structural supporting membrane. Be sure to check out the series of videos about foundations so that you'll understand what kind of foundations are available for you to use on your shipping container house. Then we're going to be putting floor joists in between these shipping containers, and those floor joists will need to be supported with beams on either side. Putting a floor on top of the floor joist, and then let's start building the Clearstory. This is showing stud walls along the top of the roof edge of both of these shipping containers. This is showing metal studs that are 2x6 at 16 inches on center. And it's already framing openings for windows. That's our Clearstory. And when we frame for those, we're going to want to double up the frames on both sides to be able to support the framing of the opening and still support the wall itself. And the next step, we're going to be putting some studs along the tops of these shipping containers to build up the roof to this Clearstory wall. To do that, let's put some clips along the edge, and those clips are going to support these roof studs. The roof studs can then be connected to these clips. Now, I'm going to be doing some other videos because there are other ways that you can connect roof joists to the shipping container. I'm only showing this as one idea, and there's many others that we'll explore. So be sure to subscribe to this video so you won't miss a video that will be describing all the little details that we're kind of going over in a cursory fashion in this video. This is how it would look with the roof joist all along the tops of these shipping containers. It's sloping to allow for water and snow to drain off, and it is also built to where there is a space between the sill of the window and the top of the roof joist And that space needs to be probably around at least 12 inches. Because once you get your roof in there and you get your flashing, you want your flashing, the top of your roof, to be no less than 8 inches from the top of the sill. Now check your own building codes. They may even have other rules to follow. Now we're going to put a roof on top of the Clearstory. And this roof on top of the Clearstory, I'm showing that to be framed also with 2x6s. They're at 16 inches on center. Maybe 24 inches on center would be enough for your sake. Check your structural engineer and he'll give you advice about the sizing and spacing of all the structural members to support your Clearstory and also your roof and the foundation. But in this case, I have two 2x6s that are back to back or face to face, whatever you want to consider it. And that is going to be somewhat of a beam that runs all along the top here to support the roof joists. And then in between these Clearstory walls, we're going to add windows. And these windows, like I said, will be placed and framed to where there is at least a 12-inch space between the top of the roof joist and the windowsill. Then we're going to want to add insulation. The insulation is going to be placed in between the roof joists, both on the top Clearstory roof and also this other roof. And this needs to be allowing for around 1 to 2 inches of open space between the top of the insulation and the top of the roof joist to allow for air to pass so that condensation can be limited. And these green panels are it's a sheathing, and the sheathing is OSB. It can be, this one's showing it by the zip system. And then we'll put a roof on top of that. I'm showing a asphalt shingle system, and it also has a gutter system with some flashing. And these Clearstories really give some wonderful architectural design opportunities where you can even have a long pendant light coming down from it. It can really be a dramatic addition to your shipping container house. This is how it looks on the other side. You can see how the siding is already being put up and the flashing around the windows is indicated here and flashing here. Now this flashing, there is a type of flashing that can allow air to escape the roof, and that's what I would recommend at this edge. This illustration shows a little bit better. This pink right here indicates the batt insulation, and you can see that there is quite a bit of the roof trusses and the studs, metal studs, 2x6, exposed, and that's because the air will be coming up from this eave vent, and then it'll be allowed to go up over this and out the flashing. You may even find that it'd be better, none like how it's shown here, but this batt probably should actually stop back here above the shipping container and not be over the soffit so that the air can move even more freely to get above there. Here's how it looks. We've got we have a ridge vent on the top, and down below here's the floor joists that are added, and it's connected to a beam across here, and that beam is supported by these piers that are at the corners of the shipping container, and it's also in the mid-span. Here's how it would look if you're inside of the space. Now granted, it's not all finished out, but you can visualize based on this character here the height of this ceiling and how dramatic it would look to have a Clearstory roof in between these two shipping containers. This view shows how expansive it is, pushing these shipping containers 6 feet apart will make your shipping container home a lot larger in an open plan than obviously if you were to put them together like we were exploring in the previous videos. Keep in touch with us. Be sure to check our video because we're going to be adding a lot more details about how all of these little parts are put together. I'll see you on the next video.